Welcome to the Operational Excellence webinar. I'm Shweta Kaur and I'm a business consultant. I work through my company called Your Consultant Gurus. And today I'm going to talk about what is operational excellence, what does it do, where can it be utilized as, and if someone is interested, what are the early steps you can approach to see if that's the right thing for you. I would appreciate people to ask questions as we go along. So if there is anybody, any questions is there, please raise your hand and then we can take it. Thank you. So what is operational excellence? It's basically a way for an organization, how they work. It's about small steps towards a wider organization goal, keeping into consideration all the people that are involved right from top level till the end users. And it is something that has been um, practiced by very conventional companies in the past, and it's now being coming back. Now it's being implemented back from different consultancies as well, because it has been realized like that's probably one of the most tried and tested successful approach for a systematic growth of a company. So in essence, I would say it's kind of a roadmap, and it is a continuous process. We cannot ever say that we have achieved operational excellence in our organization and now we don't need it anymore. The more complex the business, the higher the requirement for an operational excellence approach is. So, what is operational excellence? So, as I said, it's kind of a continuous improvement. It has a lot of management philosophy to it. As I mentioned, that this is a process which involves people right from the small entry level on job as an apprentice till the CEO and beyond and board and stuff. Because only reason is because it needs everybody involvement. It cannot be top down to bottom. It has to be in parallel with each other. So that's the philosophy that approach needs to be taken. The continuous improvement bit, as I mentioned, that an organization can never be perfect in terms of saying we have achieved operational excellence and we don't need any more, because basically operational excellence is managing change, growth, transformation, integration, any change at any level from process or people, organization level. It could be any changes implemented by the government for the policies, from politics to finance to any decisions. So that's why we cannot say that continuous improvement is we can safely say that continuous improvement is a very integral part of being an operational excellence compliant as an organization. The third point I would like to highlight is the systematic optimization of processes. So, because we are saying there is a continuous change, continuous input from different people at organization at various levels, there needs to be a system which we need to practice in order to make sure that everyone is heard, if everyone is feels that they are contributing towards a common goal. So, there will be in few future slides we're going to talk about some of the processes and approaches. Key methodologies. Now there is lean manufacturing, the one of the most common way to start something which will lead an organization towards being the best version of itself is by doing a first filtration, which is called lean slicing of probably the goals, the agenda, or the teams, or the processes, everything. So when we say we eliminate waste from the processes, which is overproduction, waiting time, unnecessary transportation, it could be anything from IT to software, to logistics to retail, anything which has a lot of probably barriers, like kind of middleman processes, which does not feed anything productive into the process, but they are there because apparently they were introduced at a point when they were needed for an interim time, but then it has been carried on because nobody bothered to have a look at it to see if they are still required or are they mundane or obsolete by that time. So it's looking at the process, what we have, doing the as is analysis and saying, look, this was best working probably 6 years down the 6 years before, but it may not be working 1 year down the line. So we need to we need to start getting into eliminating that. It could be different team structure. It could be different way the documents are processed. It could be different way someone is onboarded. It's like there could be like 10 different steps of onboarding someone, which is probably not required because certain keys are duplicate, certain information is asked like twice. So, for example, if someone is onboarding a new employee and they ask during the in the background checks about their NI number, bank account for pay slips and stuff. And then when they join, there is an onboarding induction, and they ask the same question again. So that is a process which is something which we will look at eliminating from the process perspective, and that is what is a lean approach. In Six Sigma, it's a very, very measurable and an analytical and very, very focused approach, which was, I think, was widely practiced by GE, which was Six Sigma, and so there was like black belt certification there is for it, which is again looking at what we are trying to remove, but then also what we are trying to achieve should be defined. It should be measurable. It should be something that is we can control into the process and improvised. It shouldn't be something that is stagnant. Um, in complementary to that would be Kaizen, which is again a strategy which is again talking about involving all the employees, as I mentioned previously. It is like a continuous growth. If we want to look at from the graphic chart, it's like an ever growing upward climbing a trek kind of a thing, where there is a slow but continuous process of ever involvement and improvement from all the employees contributing, and not just saying yes to like whatever is provided by the high management. And summarizing, I think culture point is something which is talking of all the first three methodologies we have said. I wouldn't say culture is exactly a methodology here, but I wanted to put it here because it's very, very key part of one of the approach an operational excellence manager would implement is uh, making sure that there is a great customer experience. And it does not necessarily means that an experience is for the customer who are of the organization. It could be also who are within the organization. So every employee is treated as a customer for the organization because they are someone who the organization want to cater to, bring on table a kind of a work and a culture where they perform their best. Moving on. So the building blocks of the operational excellence would be strategy deployment. Very, 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 very key element here, looking at how do we apply the strategies where it is block by block development rather than all in one. So it's not something like a big bang progress or like a launch. It needs to be done at very various stage. It could be like alpha, beta, and then live stage, or it could be like pre-alpha stage. So there has to be a lot of paths defined and strategy implemented for doing slow and slow and stable growth as an operational excellence organization, and especially if an organization has not had anything to do with operational excellence kind of approach. This is very important, the way the strategy is deployed in bits by bits, and making sure that everything is getting absorbed and picked up as we progress further. The second key factor here is performance management. So it's very important that while the organization is going through that change, there is a strategic implementation of various rules and principles. We need to make sure that people are on board, system are on board. So we need to measure it, as we mentioned in the previous slide, that needs to be measurable. So there is like key KPIs, which is for per person, key performance indicators. So if someone is probably in a team which was leaned out and they have team goals and someone needs to go and achieve it, we need to make sure that how they're achieving it, how will we measure it again. So it's like a benchmark kind of a thing to measure it against, saying like If this is probably very common in any organization anyways when we do performance review, but when we say KPI, it's like very, very specific, that if they are not met, even if the other things are met, it's not being that much focus, and operational excellence is being about focus. So performance management and KPI is one of the approach. It's being used, it's used in operational excellence. Now, the process excellence. Now, what we spoke about the methodologies earlier, this is Lean, Six Sigma, problem solving, and then eliminating waste is again a slice of approach. So, if we are looking at achieving excellence in anything, we have to make sure that it's when I say lean, it's something which is very, very focused. So, if you look into a pyramid structure, it would be something like the top part of the pyramid where we are looking at everything is available at the bottom, but we start focusing, we start picking up things from the bottom layer, saying like we need 10% from the cultural bit, 10% from the data, 10% from governance and stuff like that. And then we make a tip of the pyramid saying like this is the tip of the pyramid is the lean goal we are trying to achieve, which will be inclusive of everything which is in the organization, but only the key aspects of each of it rather than just focusing on one side and then ignoring the other. So it's like eliminating waste for that specific goal. And then the dependency of a successful operational excellence change management is very, very reliant on high performance working teams. So if there is a part of the organization where the teams are divided into say six or five different teams, and even if one of them is not working towards the overall end goal of the business and not achieving their KPIs, it's going to affect the overall rest of the team's performance, even if they are performing well. It's kind of a ripple effect. We can call it a ripple effect. We can call it the blocks. That's why I put it under building blocks, is because it's something which stands on each other rather than standing it's like independently. It's not working in silos, so it's exactly opposite of working in silos. The team have to work together, make sure that they are working towards one single goal, one single objective of the organization. I will move on if there are no questions. Now, a special slide for communication because communication is key to make sure that the change management is happening smoothly. So if I am at a meeting with management and we have agreed for five different approaches, change in the organization policies or anything, and we think it's perfect, and we have started to roll it out, and then we communicate it with the second line managers, but it's not communicated further to the rest of the team. It's going to be a failure right from day one, because if everybody is not on board, there is no way that everybody can achieve one single goal, and then achieving that one single goal is the key aspect of being an operational excellent certified organization or a team. And amplifying on that is the implication. So if nothing is implicate, if not something needs to be implemented in terms of change in goal, procedure, team structure, reorg, anything which is like travel related and stuff, especially in the logistics industry, it needs to be very, very clearly communicated. Everybody is on the same page, and this is very simple thing to think of, like, oh yes, we need to tell everyone, but you will be surprised at level looking at the level when the organization have failed their transformation projects just because they did not communicate well enough to the people who are actually doing the work. So there I was consulting for a company who had a very, very drastic transformational change program, and they were funded very well with the investors and stuff, but they failed after like about 9 to 10 months. And as soon as we went in as consultants, the first thing we noticed was the team at the bottom, from the high top level management, was not even aware of this program, of this change management that was going through. And the reason given was, oh, we thought it is too much information to share at this point, and it could create a bit of fear in the organization because whatever transformation they were approaching could lead to some redundancies, and that's why they didn't wanted to tell everyone until it was successful. But then it was contradicting to the actual approach, because if people did not know that they are being they are made to move towards a different goal than what they are working at, it is going to fail. I mean, there is no other way it will be successful if people don't know what they are supposed to work under as. Moving on to next. So some of the benefits and key industries and tools. So I'll pick up with the tools here first. So automation, which is again, there is a process mining. When I say process mining, it is everything an organization does, right from looking for a person to hire them to actually approach them, arrange for interviews, offer or give them an offer, getting them on board, and they're doing their work within the organization. There's a change in team structure and anything. So all of this comes under different processes, and this is just like probably less than half of the processes we see in organization. So if when we're looking at eliminating waste, we are also looking at automation at this point. And now um, I don't have it on my slide because we are not there yet, but there is a lot of implementation possibilities of AI into operational excellence automation, where we'll be looking at probably RPA could be one of them, which is robotic process automation. So this is when I say automation of process and process mining, and this, it means something which is being done as a manual task, which is repetitive, which is something which can be filtered out in the initial stages with automation of probably say drop down options on a form, eliminating further options when someone selects an option A, and then the rest of the options goes away. So that kind of automation we are talking about here. And then there are other products which is more of like RPA, which is robotic process, which takes creating the process maps, process flows, process modeling into next level of it. It brings in AI aspect into it. So if you're drawing a process map for an organization, it will prompt you to say, this is a decision making stage. Do you want to include data structure in it? Do you want to have a GDPR included in this? So that's kind of automation. There is a separate IT automation where we're talking of like system integration, API, and high-speed file transfer for data and domain. So for example, there is an organization which we know of which holds a lot of public information on their file for health and safety reasons, and they need to transfer it back to say a safeguarding organization, and they need to know. So earlier it was all done through manual Excel sheets, and people were sending out literally physical emails and stuff. But now it could be done through system integration when the two companies come on cloud and they share a single cloud space, and then that's how they do the high speed data transfer file, and then this is becoming a part of change management and eventually leading into the excellence of delivery. The key industries, some of the key industries. Now, this is not an exhaustive list here, so please excuse if you're working in somewhere where this is not listed here. In manufacturing, the reason why it is there is because there is a lot of tedious work involved, where people are looking into a lot of manual things which can be done on system, which is still being done traditionally on paper. And the reason why we need to get those tasks done into more of like system is because of audit trails. We need to have a better audit trail. We need to have something which is more less prone to risk of errors at that point. And then also it saves a lot of time for the company. In IT industry, which is one of the growing areas where people are implementing operational excellence approach in change management and digital transformation specifically. In healthcare, as I mentioned, there is a lot of personal data held by healthcare companies, and we really need to make sure that there is no leak in the data. There is no manual errors in processing and storing those data. And then construction companies, as I said, like on site, there is a lot of say security measures and trainings and policies and procedures to look into, and a lot of that can be done automated through different trainings, apps, and websites, which can be automated. The benefits of overall in general using these tools, it is independent of being an operational excellence or approach organization, is obviously there is a low risk. As I mentioned, there is less involvement of someone doing manual repetitive tasks and handling key data and stuff, so that's why it's low risk approach. It is an accountability because it's traceable, there is an audit trail possible. There is an employee empowerment because of the cultural shift, that it is not from top down to bottom, but it is in parallel to everybody sitting across in a team. It is an optimized workflow, obviously, because when we are eliminating the waste in the process, duplication and errors, then it is obviously a better workflow for all of us. And standardized procedures. So in a in an organization which is widespread across the nation or even on international level, global, there is an optimized workflow, because many organization we have where we work as implementing operational excellence, we have realized that people have local drives to save their processes, to save their documents, and everyone is doing same job in a different way. But when we have this kind of approach where everybody's working towards one goal, we also make sure that in the lean approach, we eliminate any local tribal knowledge kind of processes and approaches, and then it makes into because it's centralized and optimized. And there's a standard to be maintained, and then we can measure the KPIs against it as well. Moving on to next, some of the companies. Now, I don't want to say that this is an explicit list, but the reason I wanted to talk about the companies which hire operational excellence now is because you can see there is a variety of industries there. There is Deloitte, there is Toyota, there is DHL, there is hospitality, NHS, eBay, which is different domains, different industries. And so we can clearly see that the operational excellence is not now specific to only traditional companies or companies which have really high turnover or companies which do things only manually. There is a lot of uh, different kind of approaches that's being moduled for even in operational excellence to customize for different clients. So if I leave the consultancies out of that, we can see, like, for example, Toyota is a very, very different company than obviously from NHS and DHL and Evolve Hospitality. So we can see that it is quite flexible to have this kind have operational excellence implemented into your organization, irrespective of what domain and what kind of products is being manufactured is worked towards. So some of the option to for someone to start into operational excellence as the key, as a first point, if you're just thinking like, okay, I don't understand anything, or I understand it and I liked what I've heard or read, is probably start reading about these approaches, because these are the core foundation for an operational excellence consultant, where you need to go and understand what do we mean by lean approach, what is a Six Sigma, what is a black belt, what is Kaizen approach, and the different process improvement. Now, if I would have gone into the line of actually talking about various process improvement methodologies, it could have been like 10 more slides. So I'm restricting myself to that, because it's another conversation and another topic altogether for a different webinar itself. So these are the kind of things, if you want to be into operational excellence or know if it is right for you or not right for you, this is the kind of thing you can approach and start to have a read. I think that's the end of my presentation. Are there any questions?
Vanessa, go for it.
Hi again. Hi, Shweta. Thank you so much for the presentation. My question is on the last slide about the exploring operational excellence. I wanted to find out how long would one require to just know if it's really right for them, they're a right fit for it, and also once you're really a beginner, how long would it take for you to get to an expert stroke consultation level? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. It really covers a lot of points. So I will start with how long will it take? It depends on your experience in corporate environment at the point where you're looking to start. So, for example, if someone who have had like 5 years working in a digital transformation industry, this would be like something you go and have a look at it, have a read at it. There are courses online on different channels, on different platforms now, on social medias and stuff like that. I would say get an understanding of the basic read of it. And if it is something which is already practiced in your organization, the best approach would be to ask for working in that team, or working with someone who's looking into that kind of, say, change management, digital transformation, and how they are implementing the operational excellence approach in there. If that is not possible, then I would probably say, before jumping into getting into full-fledged certification, which can last from something which is done in 15 days to up to 6 months, and then longer as well. There are no degrees at this point, which specializes in operational excellence, but there are a lot of certification and courses. So I would say anything up to 6 months would be a time for someone who doesn't know anything about operational excellence to become an operational excellence consultant. But then again, if you just want to explore the possibilities, it's a good. Our first approach would be just to go and have a read on Google and YouTube, and probably do short courses on, I don't know if the Udemy or YouTube, I don't know.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
I just don't want to say specifically what will suit you, like YouTube or Udemy. I don't know. It's like it's your approach.
Yeah, even LinkedIn Learning and stuff like that.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Sarah.
I appreciate, obviously, that you're an operational excellence consultant, but what sort of other roles do you normally see in organisations that actually would perform this? Because not all companies are going to be big enough to have specific operational excellence consultants.
So thank you for the question. The first team that comes into my mind is change management, is someone who have implemented operational excellence. So it depends how big the size of change management team is. So if someone is a change manager and they're looking at managing a change of an organizational restructuring, then knowingly or unknowingly, they are using the operational excellence approach. It's just that operational excellence becomes a part of change management at that level. And if not change management, then there is transformation. Now in IT industry, there is a digital transformation, and even in non-IT industry like logistics and utilities, and like some of their natural resources industries, couple of them I have consulted, is they have a team which is like making them IT centric kind of a team, where they want people to get on board on to start using different online platforms like Altasian products, and shared spaces kind of thing. So that also becomes users of operational excellence approach. So it could be change management, digital transformation, and also other one which comes on top of my head is the ITSM, which are like looking into overall program management, but from very, very technical perspective. They really have a branch where they need to manage the change, and if not all the methodologies, but they will definitely need to imply something which is around lean approach, where they need to cut off all the eliminations of the waste.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Shweta, do you think that it needs to be something that's adopted at enterprise level, so the whole organization is having this cultural shift towards operational excellence? Or if I am somebody that is skilled in Lean, Six Sigma, Kaizen, I can implement that like locally in my own team and have that kind of mindset in my team without the wider business following the same principles?
Thank you, Kevin. It's very interesting because the answer is yes and a no. So yes, you can do it for your team. So if you are managing a team and you want to approach in a certain way with applying certain methodologies, you can. The challenge where I would say it will get stuck would be when the ultimate goal would differ at an organization level versus the team level. So if team is working as probably like a 3-month goal, and then the key aspect of having a successful operational excellence is having one goal. So if the management is not on board, there will be limitations on, sorry, if the organization headers are not on board with this idea, there will be limitations on you as a manager to implement that beyond your team, and then it becomes a silo, so which will be kind of a blocker. So it's good for a short-term project deliverable. Say, for example, if you want to achieve something in 2 months' time, you can approach that within your team and say, let's prioritize stuff. Let's remove the waste, or probably like descope what we don't want to achieve in 2 months, and then focus on just 3 points. And then I want everybody in the team to contribute towards the goal as an idea and work towards it. And we will have certain KPIs, but that's about it. Like for up to 2 to 3 months where you achieve it, then what happens? Then you need the management agreement to say, yes, we need to have this wider approach, because there will be few scenarios where you'll need to work and interact with other teams and stuff. And if they are not approaching the same, they're not using the same approach, it might contradict with yours.
A question for the other attendees: are you in organizations where operational excellence is in play, or are you approaching this thinking, could I change my skill set to go and work somewhere else, or can I influence my business to adopt this kind of way of working?
Yes, so so I have worked in organization where there was operational excellence in place in very, very established way of working. But then I'm also consulted for companies who had no idea about operational excellence, and they were going through change. So some of my clients were people who are small businesses, small, probably family-run business as well, who don't have any idea about all these fancy terminologies. But essentially, it's just basically implying helping them achieve something fast, something which is low on cost as well, because if you eliminate a lot of things which are not required, it is actually beneficial to the business. So in an organization which hire me for bringing in change or manage the transformation, I do introduce operational excellence there.
Yeah. So staying on that point then, when you are introducing it, are you typically hired for that sole purpose, or do you hire for something else? Then you say the solution is operational excellence, and if so, who are you trying to influence, and how are you influencing them to make that decision?
So for example, the kind of projects which would help, which would, and probably allow me to implement operational excellence would be something like a company trying to merge with another company, a company selling, like a family business, they want to sell it to a big corporate and they don't know what to, what's the best thing for them. So I'm hired there as a consultant to give business advice on transformation and strategy. And one of the approach I introduce them is operational excellence. My preference is for operational excellence is for few key things, and one of them is being able to audit and trail back. So if someone is not happy with the result at the end of the whole transformation, there is a reason to back down to bring out the reasons, like, okay, this is why it failed. Let's do it in a different way. And it's not about telling anybody off like each other. It's just like, okay, no, this is not what we wanted to achieve, in 3 months down the line, what happened? And when then we can go back and say, okay, in probably Q1, these KPIs were not met, but we had to let it go because we were moving towards the next goal. Or in lean approach, what was it that you asked to be descoped? And it's like you wanted us to focus on 2 key deliverables rather than all 5 of them. So there's always a good strategic analysis that can be done if an operational excellence approach is implemented in managing change or complete transformation. I have worked for a client locally which was going through complete process transformation. So they were doing a lot of excess baggage process of hiring two middlemen in between to do their business. They were like brick and mortar business. So when I did my analysis and proposed a plan for them, my solution options, one of them was to get rid of the middleman and have a system where the third party vendor directly enters the information and they see it. So this is like an operational excellence approach, and I implemented that in the overall process. So I wouldn't say it's a standalone. It is a way of working rather than saying like, okay, I just do operational excellence. So basically, operational excellence is how we do things in a certain way, and the kind of projects we work it for is change management, digital transformation, merger acquisition. Someone who is starting completely new can also start with operational excellence. So if I had a legal client who was starting up their own business from scratch. So they had been working in big legal firms, but they wanted to establish their own business with like 3 people on board as directors. So that is also somewhere where we looked into lean and being focused for 6 months plan, and then moving and doing a review after 6 months and seeing like, okay, how much have we grown from month A to B, stuff like that.